Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you had a fantastic week. We missed last week and to observe Thanksgiving, and I can tell you there's so much to be thankful for and grateful for. And I am thankful for everybody on this call and everybody in our organization for what we mean to each other and the fact that we get together on Sunday evenings and get to share with each other and get to collaborate. So as always, we start by recognizing our presenting sponsors, GIA Publications and Consumer. We certainly want to thank those folks for their sponsorship and what they do for us. And we're excited to announce that we have a new sponsor on board as of this week, Director's Assistant. And Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you just to say a few words about our new sponsor.
All right. Well, Director's Assistant is owned by Chris Walls. Chris is a former band director. I went to WT, West Texas, got a master's in conducting at Colorado with Alan McMurray. And Director's Assistant, he does the usual, marching band shoes, tuxes, shirts, silk screen, all the stuff. But the big thing that he's excited about is he's got a new product called the Tuner Caddy, which you should check out on his website. And for everybody that does the tuners on the stands, you won't want to miss that. But Chris is going to be hanging out at our booth at Midwest, booth 2001, peddling the Tuner Caddy and talking about Slam. And we're excited to have Chris and Director's Assistant as our newest corporate sponsor.
Absolutely. Tim, you want to say a few words?
Well, I just think it's great. And for everybody, if you have somebody that you know that would enjoy being a sponsor, kick it up to us and let us know, because it's about relationships, and we have a web of them if we can take advantage of it.
Absolutely. And every once in a while we'll talk about our tenants. They're here on the screen, and there are all kinds of content that you can access on slamleadership.org. And if you happen to be new to us tonight, we'd love for you to go to the website, check it out, and possibly join us in the future as well. So that's slamleadership.org. And I also wanted to mention to you that this summer in Charleston, South Carolina, at Charleston Southern University on July 8th and 9th, we're going to offer our very first 12-hour certification course on the first level of tenants that we have for Slam. And the registration for that opens on December 19th. If you happen to be at the Midwest Band Orchestra Clinic, come to our booth and we can talk to you, give you a little bit more information about the certification course. But we haven't talked about it too much, and we wanted to let you know that that we're going to be doing this summer, and we're excited about that. Tim, you want to jump in on that?
Well, I mean, you will be glad you did it. It would be a great gift to yourself. And that's about the time of year we need to fuel up and get ready to go back in. And I don't know, I think it'll be an extension of the Pathways thing, Scott, and everybody left that flying last year. So this is just another elevation we can go to. Does that make sense, buddy?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And as we always do, we'll start with Tim's words of wisdom.
Thanks, Scott. Well, first of all, thanks for everybody being here. I don't know about any of you, but something seemed wrong last Sunday. And I just kept going, what is this Sunday? And then it hit me. We didn't have Slam. Right. And I had to kind of, where's all my buddies? Where's all the friends? It's time for the pizza. Get around, Some people do Sunday night football. We do Slam. So like that. So the words of wisdom, they're going to be your words tonight. It's a little bit different. First of all, I want you to answer these questions for yourself. There's 6 of them. Here's the first one. Who's your greatest critic? The second one is, who constantly reminds you of your faults? The third one is, who's quick to tell you when you say or do something wrong? The next one is, who creates ongoing self-doubt within you that keeps you from taking chances? The fifth one is, who dwells on your shortcomings and keeps reminding you about them. And the fifth one is, who can ruin or destroy a really great time for you? Now, I don't know about you, but my answer is the same one for everyone. And of course, that is ourselves. That little voice that just jabbers all the time. Self-talk. So I did a little bit of research for us. Yeah, Jonathan, I'm with you. Jonathan, you answer for all of us. Negative self-talk, most often by research, does not reflect reality. In other words, we lie to ourselves about how bad we are. And the subconscious doesn't know the difference between truth and non-truth, so it accepts it. You are in the top 10% in the world right now. That's already a given. Teachers are in the top 10%. So that positive. How then do you stay positive? And the number one answer was, make sure you're around positive people. Isn't that amazing? Because the personalities of other people are contagious. And that's right, Kathy, you're right. When there's silence, our brains will start finding everything wrong and so forth. This is a great quote from Pogo. I have met the enemy, and he is me. Ships don't sink because the water is around them. Ships sink because the water gets in them. Mm-hmm. Don't let what's happening around you get inside you and weigh you down and sink you. You have control of your thoughts. Now, if you'll stay with me here. Are you now here, present moment, or are you nowhere? It's the same word. People who are optimists and live lives of joy live in that space between now and here. That's where they are. If you close that space, you're nowhere. And that's what we're constantly, time and time again. So when somebody says, oh my gosh, you look beautiful today, the typical response is, oh, I just got out of bed, threw my hair. Instead of saying, I ought to, it's been an hour and a half to put this makeup on. I should look beautiful after all that effort. Thank you. But we tend to, oh, that's a gorgeous outfit. Oh, this whole thing. And we cancel it and actually put them down instead of just saying, thank you. Thank you. So here's my last little bit of wisdom here. In our self-talk, don't say anything to yourself that you wouldn't say to your best friend. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, it's really a good day for everybody. So those are my thoughts, Scott.
Oh, that's just reiterates why we get together on Sunday nights. I really needed to hear that, Tim. Thank you. Related to that, my son was telling me he had a horn lesson recently, and the teacher was talking to him about his self-talk, and she was saying that, we beat up on ourselves more than what the teacher heard. She said, I didn't make a big deal of that at all, and you made a really big deal out of it. So that's really true, so true. So my thoughts this evening are just some thoughts, but I'll share them with you. Every day before going to the podium, ask yourself if your present state of mind allows you to be enthusiastic and passionate about the act of making and teaching music. Are you the best version of yourself at that moment? At that moment, remind yourself of your why. Do your students know why you love music and love the collaborative process of making music in an ensemble? Do they know that you care about them as individuals and that you truly believe they will succeed? Is your environment safe, collaborative, and inclusive, where students feel some type of ownership. When things happen in rehearsal rooms that are not so good, it's because we gave it permission to happen. And when things happen that are joyous and happy and creative, it's because we gave permission for it to happen. These traits, along with establishing high expectations and musically knowing your craft, will create a wonderful culture of excellence. Culture, purpose, enthusiasm, passion combined with the love of music making make a transformative impact, and it doesn't get much better than that. We truly are in the music business and the people business, and the fact that we get to make a difference in the life of young people each and every day, it just doesn't get much better than that.
Amen.
So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts for today. So we are so excited to have Melody Villegas as our guest tonight. She's the choir director at ACNU Middle School in Mesquite ISD, Texas. And we're just so excited for her to be with us. And now I'm going to turn it over to Steve for a formal introduction.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. I'm so excited to have Melody here because in my previous life as the director of fine arts at Mesquite ISD, I had the pleasure of hiring Melody. She's one of those people, when you first meet her, you go, how quickly can I get her to sign on the dotted line? I mean, and after you hear her talk, you'll know why. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to play you like the last 30 seconds of her men's choir from her UAL performance last year. And then you're going to know why they're going to be singing at a Team EA here. So I can figure this out and play.
Steve, I think the sound is only coming from your microphone. When you share the screen, there's a little checkbox at the bottom that you have to click that says share computer sound or something like that.
Oh. So you heard none of that?
Mm-mm.
Not really. Mm-mm.
Well, that means I am so technically savvy. Well, I can assure you then it was amazing. But I will figure out, because I didn't know that I missed that button. So, but anyway, she's an amazing teacher. The program has grown tremendously. She took over in a program that was small, and maybe she'll talk about the game closet and some of the culture things she had to take over and instill once she got there. And so, Kristen, I will, what I'll do is I'll just share the link of that performance with you in the Google Drive so you can just listen to all of it. How about that? All right, so Melody, take it away.
Okay, well, thank you. I had no idea Steve was going to do that, and I was going to offer to pick the performance apart for you if you'd like. I can tell you, in accordance with everything that Dr. Tim said, I can tell you every single little thing that could have been better or was better in the warm-up room. But like Steve said, I'm Melody Villegas. I teach at ACNU Middle School, and I worked with Steve for the last 7 years. He was the director of fine arts in my district. This is actually my 14th year teaching. Prior to ACNU, I taught for 6 years in a different district on the north side of Dallas. Now I'm on the southeast side of Dallas. And before that, I got my bachelor's at the University of North Texas. And before that, I grew up in Mesquite, which is now the same city that I teach in, which is really, really wonderful. It is great to be home. So like Steve said, when I started at ACNU, I can tell you on my very first day, I had 88 students in choir out of a school of about 1,000. So it was an extremely small program. Only 11 of them were tenor-based singers. And the thing that I really, 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 really love is tenor bass. I love my trebles too, but my tenor bass we just get each other. We just really understand each other, and they have my heart. I love them. And so in their first periods, the first class I had, it was 11 kids, and I thought, okay, let's get to work. There were quite a few culture things that needed addressing. My favorite one is that, like Steve said, there's a storage room off of the office, and the whole thing was just full of toys and like nonsense items, like pantyhose, like women's pantyhose with tennis balls down in the bottom that were supposedly used for minute to win it games. And I was enthusiastically informed that we don't sing on Friday. We don't rehearse on Friday. Friday is fun Friday. And I said, well, singing is fun to me. and so we very quickly had to turn that stuff around. But you know what? It was easy is not the right word, but it happened faster than you would think, because we made singing fun. We made singing fun. I stopped hearing about Fun Friday very, very quickly. The toys just magically disappeared. And that was the end of it. They wanted so badly to be good and to be part of something good. I think that is often overlooked. They want to feel good and confident about what they're doing. And that is a huge, huge, huge part of our work. So that very first year, those tenor bass students did not go to UIL, which is our yearly assessment. They didn't go at all. They still are adults now, and they still to this day think that they went, because I just didn't have the heart to tell them that we were going to pre-UIL, which is like a district level conference. But they went, and they were so proud of what they had accomplished, and I was so proud of them too. I remember talking with my cluster head about my decision to not take them to the real contest. And I said, I think that they might get a 4. And in Texas, that is 1 grade above the lowest possible score. And I said, a 4 is not an appropriate score for the work they have done this year. And I don't want somebody to take all of that work and all of that heart and put a 4 on top of it, because those two things don't match. And so we went and it really was the right decision for them. It really, really was. And then the next couple of years, things grew pretty quickly, and we started having, a proper sized choir of 25, maybe 30, maybe a little bit higher than 30. And the ball got rolling and things were going great. And then a new school opened in our district, and a third of my program went to that new school, just gone, because that's what happens. Those things happen. But also that same year, we were able to get 6th graders back in, and I love teaching 6th graders. And I also really love having that extra year to just build fundamentals, build culture, build skill before we have a contest breathing down our neck. I love that extra year. So that was great. And I got a full-time assistant, which was great, because by this point I was married and had a baby, and I really, really needed that help. So that was wonderful. And we recovered from losing those kids and gained some more momentum. And then I believe that year that we gained momentum was 2019 to 2020, which might ring a bell if you have been teaching for any length of time. And that year I had the best choirs I had had at ACNU, and really good, even 6th graders. And I thought, maybe that old dream that I stuffed away about TMEA, and I told myself, oh, it's okay if it never happens. It's okay if we don't ever do a convention. It started, showing up a little. Well, maybe we could. Well, maybe. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to make sure I get really good recordings this year, just in case, just in case. And then we never got any recordings, because we never came back from spring break. They were just gone. And a lot of them I never saw again. Just gone. Okay, great. So the next year, our whole music department came together to decide, how can we maintain momentum? How can we keep the wheels on this bus? And we did a few different things. One of them is that we very deliberately shared as many kids as possible. So I don't think I mentioned yet, my now husband is the band director at our school. We started the same year at ACNU. We met there. Our classrooms are next door to each other. Someday we'll write a Hallmark movie and retire rich and famous. But so we work really well together, obviously. But we work really well with our orchestra directors as well. And so we decided, okay, we're going to share as many kids as possible so that the kids we do have here on campus are going to get the best experience they can have. Because we were split. We had some kids at school full time and some kids at home full time. That was our model. And I'll be darned if that didn't work. It really did. It really did. And so the year before, the recordings that I didn't bank, and I was so disappointed, then we just stayed the course. We just stayed that course and we shared as many kids as we could, and we focused on connection and low stakes and celebrating successes. And then that choir was better than the one I had before. And so we did get to go to contest that year. And we were in masks. And the recordings that I submitted to the convention, or some of them, were masked because that's where we were at. But they were really, really great. And then it started to feel real. Then it started to really, really go somewhere. So that year, the assistant that I had went to an elementary position. And so then I got a new assistant who was a first-year teacher. And that was fun, new energy in the room, but also took a lot of time. It's a lot of time to mentor somebody. And I love doing it, but it's a lot of time. And so this was last year, and that choir was really good too. And I thought, oh, if we hadn't had the pandemic, if we just had one more year, because up until that time, the rules of convention were you had to have 3 years worth of recordings. And in that previous year with the pandemic, I don't have anything. I don't have anything to give. It probably would have been pretty good, but I don't have anything. So I got the news right around UIL time that they were going to change that to only 2 years. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think we're going to do it. Like, I think we're going to try. And so I recorded last year, which is the one that you heard. You got the link to it, and you're welcome to listen to that. I can share, any of it with you. And that was really good. And I'm not part of a convention committee. I judge some in the state, but I don't go listen to choir after choir after choir. So I don't have a huge frame of reference for how great my kids are. I just knew that in the 14 years I've been standing in front of kids, those are good kids. That's a good sound. And I knew that I might never have a choir this good ever again. It might not happen. And I don't want to retire someday wishing that I had tried. The worst they can say is no. It's okay. It's the worst they can say is no. So I decided to go for it. And then we got the last little bit of news, which was, oh, and you need to submit your potential program with your recordings, which is different from how we had done it before. And so the week after school got out, I worked a full 40 hours and listened to, I swear, the entire J.W. Pepper catalog. I'm pretty sure the entire thing, and talked to anybody who would talk to me, and just hashed and rehashed and almost quit multiple times. And my wonderful husband said to me, "Who is quitting right now? And you will beat them solely because you finish." Okay, if you insist. And he was absolutely right. And so I really struggled, like you were saying, Dr. Tim, with feeling like I don't even know what the word is, fancy enough. I don't know what's in choral music, especially not on that level, on that really difficult stuff. I don't know which songs are passe. I don't know any of that stuff. I'm just teaching kids. And I had to really let go of that and think, you're right. I don't know those things, but I do know my kids. And so I chose a program that would tell our story, and thought if they don't want us, then they don't want us. And that's okay. And I clicked submit, and I thought that would be the end of it. And then I got a really, really spectacular phone call in July, and here we are. So I'm so excited to be part of this. And the thing about ACNU that Steve didn't mention, and I don't think I have yet, is our demographic and what our school makeup is. So we're a 6 through 8 campus on the southeast part of Dallas. Our school as a whole is 80-ish% Latino, probably 15% Black, and the last 5% is white or other. Our school as a whole is shrinking overall. So our school now in 3 grade levels has a little bit under 750 kids, but our music programs are growing. And that is amazing to me, because that just means that growth is even more meaningful percentage wise. So now that first year I had 88, this year I have almost 300 and 110 boys or 110 tenor bass singers across 3 performing ensembles. And, it's wonderful. It really, really is wonderful. And the band and orchestra are also taking off and doing great things. But at conventions, I'm sure that you have noticed, any of you who've been to them, that the choirs tend to come from a certain type of neighborhood and learn and look a certain type of way. And our school is 98% low socioeconomic level. We have an enormous immigrant population. Most of the immigrant families are from either Mexico or Central America, but we also have a large immigrant population from Nigeria. And these kids' parents have come here or brought them here or whatever for a better life and for opportunity. And I really, really love to put kids with that kind of experience, that kind of life experience, that kind of perspective on this kind of a stage, because it's easy. And for me too, at ACNU, see it now, I'm going to cry. It's easy to feel like your kids are the only kids who are poor. Your kids are the only kids who look like that. But in reality, my students are average, at least in Texas. My students are more run-of-the-mill average than the students that you normally see. And so I really, really hope that whenever people come to our concert or see it online or whatever, that they see their students and my students, and they think to themselves, if those students can accomplish that, mine can too. If she can do that with them, I can do this with mine. Because you absolutely can. You absolutely can. You just can. You celebrate the successes. The students that I'm taking to TMEA are varsity students, but we also have a non-varsity men's choir, and they don't all match pitch. They won't all match pitch in May either. But they have beautiful diction, and they're so expressive and so musical, and we celebrate that. And of course we keep working on matching pitch. Of course we do. But I am overjoyed for a beautiful cutoff or a wonderful phrase. Even if there are 19 pitches in it, that's okay. You still did those other things well, and they really feel good and confident about what they do. And I think if there's any secret to what has happened at ACNU, it is that you give genuine, enthusiastic praise. I don't ever tell them it's right when it's wrong, but I will absolutely tell them the things that they did well. We do things a lot of silly ways. One of their favorites is that I'll do a cartwheel. If I'm wearing pants, I'll do a cartwheel and let them film it, and it's funny. And so like, can we get a cartwheel for that? And it takes 10 seconds, but they know that I mean it, that I'm really excited, because you got to really earn a cartwheel. You got to really earn one of those. I had my observation from my admin last week, and she noted in there that they did something well, and I did a little excited dance, and she noted that and said that's the first excited dance that she has seen this year. And why is that the first one? Come back and see them. So that's it. That's the whole secret. is to be genuinely thrilled and let them know that you are genuinely thrilled. I cannot imagine anybody I would rather spend my day with than my kids. The ones that match pitch, the ones that will be all-staters, and the ones who love standing in a room with their friends. Either one, either one. So that's it. That's AC New. That's our journey. I'm happy to share. I do some other things around. My husband and I have a recruiting thing that I can share with you. I also have a Google folder. Sometimes I'll go to different districts. I think somebody earlier mentioned Round Rock. I was in Round Rock ISD at the beginning of this school year working with them. And I'm happy to share any of that with anybody. Please steal it, and you don't have to give me credit. Just take it. And I hope that it helps you and helps your kids.
Could you talk more about your shift from Fun Friday, Game Fun Friday to Singing Fun Friday?
Absolutely. So the first thing is to just level with them. Is we're not going to do Fun Friday. Like, we're just not. And that's not up for negotiation. And I know you're upset about it, and that's okay. You're welcome to be upset, but that's not a thing we're going to do. And then a really quick why. I tried really hard not to go into bad mouthing the previous directors, regardless of my own feelings. even if I was justified, I tried really hard not to. But I wanted them to connect work with success. And so if we give up Friday every single week, we're giving up a fifth of our work time, and I do a lot of analogies. And so I think one of them was, if I give you $100 and then say, give me 20 back, excuse me. And I wanted them to understand it that way. And then what I focused on after that very quick conversation was making rehearsal fun. Without saying, we're going to make rehearsal fun, just doing it. Something else that was helpful is I still do this to this day, I have a checklist style lesson plan. And so it goes up on our big screen in our room every day. And it's very, very detailed with what we want to accomplish. We need to fix pitches and rhythms on such and such a measures. We need to add dynamics to whatever it is. But it's a checklist style. And so every class, every day, if we get to the end of that list, the rest of the time is theirs. And I really mean it. Sometimes maybe twice a year, it happens where they have 20 minutes left over. And it's so hard for me to not be like, okay, let's just this one more thing. But I don't, because they earned that time fair and square. And they need to know that I'm somebody that sticks to her word. If I say 6 o'clock, I mean 6 o'clock. And if I say the rest of the time is yours, the rest of the time is yours. And now, years later, there are actually times early in the fall where I will short a day or two in every class, so that I will force that to happen, so that then they know, oh, wow, she's really going to do it. And I'll tell you, that day after they get all that free time, you've never seen them work so hard. You've never seen them work so hard, because they want that again. And they know that it is a possibility any day. It could happen any day, and it's up to them. So that really helped, because instead of getting a Fun Friday that was built in, it was based on their achievement and their work. Not just did we run it, but did we do it correctly? Did we do it successfully? And so it moved that momentum forward, and that success feels good. That's that dopamine hit that they want. And that success dopamine is way, way, way stronger than some Fun Friday tennis ball nonsense, little free time. And so it really did phase itself out pretty quickly.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the fact that virtually everything that you talked about was so student-centered. Matter of fact, I just for fun, I started actually counting how many times you said student. So it was, it was like fantastic. It's really great. Other questions for Melody?
Melody, for our choir people on here, could you talk briefly about how you approach your tenor bass choir and how that differs from your treble choir and your approach to those two different classes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I try to be as flexible as possible, but Steve can tell you, I do have a framework for how I think pedagogically is right, and that framework is pretty rigid. So one of those things is I really think at the middle school level, I like my tenor basses separated in a whole different class period from their trebles. I've done it both ways, and it is more successful separated in every possible way, at least in my experience. So if there's a way at your campus that you can make that happen, even for sixth graders, I highly encourage you to do it. They're different. I really like that tenor basses want to do it again. There's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of natural energy there. And for me, harnessing that energy is more fun and exciting than trying to get some energy out of kind of groups. So I really enjoy that. I build in a lot of things for them. Like one of the things that we do is I'll go, yes, ma'am, as a question, they'll go, yes, ma'am. And they, and it's silly, but it teaches that respect, that in a way that's fun. They get to yell for just a second. I make sure that I always have a football or two and basketball and soccer ball that are aired up properly. And I don't know anything about sports, but I make sure that I have those so that whenever they do have free time outside, I let them just go. I try really carefully to choose music that is vocally appropriate for them. So that recording that Steve sent you is actually transposed down a minor third from the original. Like it's a pretty big transposition because it's more physically comfortable, and they will sing. It's a better tone, and they will try harder because it feels better to do it that way. So I would encourage you to transpose things as needed, and then pacing, making your corrections as funny as you can. So most of our students are the Spanish is their first language, and I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I have learned quite a few jokes and quite a few commands. And so, I'll joke that I'm going to go get my chancla, which is my flip-flop, to like that with my flip-flop, because that's a thing that happens. I give quick commands in Spanish: sit down, stand up, that kind of thing. Or when when the phone rings and they'll say, "Who was that?" I'll say, "Don't worry about it, metiche," which means nosy. Just funny little things that they really appreciate. And I think also recognizing that even though they're most likely boys, they still have very deep feelings, and they are still capable of some really high level musical expression. I think very often tenor basses are shortchanged in that area. And for mine, very often the slow, pretty song becomes their favorite because we have so much room for musicality and expression. So I would make sure that, yes, you have those fast, punchy, loud things, but also give them space to be expressive because they might need it more than the trebles. They might need it more.
Melody, I'm ready to come sing in your choir.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And the difference, you're just making such a difference in the life of those young people, and they'll resonate with this experience and music for the rest of their lives. So fantastic. Brian, jump in.
Yeah, just a quick question, Melody. I understand why your treble bass would mostly be boys, especially in middle school. Do you have very many boys who want to be in the treble choir, and how do you handle that at that age?
I don't. I have had the opposite, but I don't. And to speak a little more to that with sixth graders, so I've been teaching 14 years, and over the years in sixth grade, I have more and more voices who are changing earlier. And there are different schools of thought for that, and a lot of really successful people that do it different ways. For me, I prefer to follow the voice down as it goes, rather than have everybody sing regardless of their gender or whether they're mixed gender in the same class or not. There's a school of thought to have everybody sing up in falsetto for the entire 6th grade year. I have not had success with that. In fact, I think I've even abandoned it a few times for a couple of reasons. One, most boys in that situation find that a little emasculating and don't enjoy it and don't want to sing that way. Most of them are very proud of their new, more grown-up voice, in the way that all adolescent kids are really looking forward to growing up, and that voice change is part of it for them. And so in some ways it's like reverting them backwards a little bit, back into childhood in a way that they don't want. And also pedagogically, I want to start developing that voice that they're going to have for the rest of their life. You know, most grown adult tenor basses don't sing in their falsetto regularly. I mean, there are a few, but in general, they don't. And so I would rather start developing characteristic tone and things in that voice as it develops. I also find that it helps smooth out cracks as they go. The way I explain it to them is like sandpaper on a 2x4. The more times you go over it, the smoother it's going to get. The more times you go over it. And so we do a lot of slides and movement back and forth from falsetto to chest voice to make sure that that transition is as smooth as it can be. And every kid is different, but I want to really walk them through that process in a way that is as comfortable and safe as it can be.
That's awesome. Jonathan, jump in.
Yes, thank you so much for this great presentation. I have a question for you about administration in your school. I'm just wondering how much support you felt and what kind of things you do with administrators to gain trust and support.
So I think I'm on my, I want to say 6th principal total now of my teaching career, my 2nd at ACNU. And this current principal and she is extremely supportive of me now. But when she started, it was her first year as a principal, and she was figuring it out just like all of us are figuring it out in the beginning. And so that has been a journey for us. And one of the things that I did early on is, as kindly and gently as I could, bring things to her attention that needed attention. For example, putting this actually happened, putting shout outs on the marquee or on the announcements, congratulations to orchestra for their such and such and such award, and then nothing for choir. Congratulations to the, and I don't know if other people feel this, but the choir directors that I know very often feel second tier in comparison to their band colleagues, as far as people's perception. And it's easy for people, I mean, very often I'll get questions about band, like, I don't teach band, I don't know anything about that. But I think we're a little extra sensitive to that. And so speaking to it in a way of saying, I know that you're proud of our students, and I want to make sure that they know that. Would you please make sure that that this gets put on the marquee or whatever else? And she has been very, very open to that, and that's really helpful. I have had administrators that were not open to those things. I have had administrators who were very, very different. So I do have experience with that too. But I think being as flexible as you can be within your framework. You know, there's some things I'm gonna go all the way to the wall about, but I will be as flexible as I can otherwise. Like, as far as where my classes fall, my class schedule during the day, I absolutely insist on having all my tenor basses in the morning. Beyond that, I don't care. You can put anybody else wherever they need to be. I don't care what order they're in the morning, doesn't matter. But I really, really need them in the morning. So much that there was a year that I had 64 tenor basses in one class because that was the only way they would fit. Alrighty, here we go. So I think making a distinction between, I am super, super flexible about these, and I really can't bend on this because of, and making sure that the because is a student-centered, pedagogical, educationally appropriate reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Very nice. I'm going to actually shift gears, since this is our last collaboration session of the semester until next February. And Melody, you certainly can participate in this as well. But I want to just pose a question. We talked about it at the very, very beginning of the semester, and we really haven't gone back to it. So I know a lot of you have things that you can share with us, but what are some things that you do in your program to create a positive culture of excellence? It can be pedagogical, it can be cultural, whatever, or things that you've seen, or for those of you who are retired on here, things that you used to do with your program. What are some things that you do that create a positive culture of excellence in your program? So let's just open it up to everybody. And I may have to call on somebody if Go ahead, Kathy.
So throughout the semester, we do region band listenings. I'm in Round Rock, Texas, and we get the kids to come in for, I think, between 5 and 7 minutes and play a cut of one etude of their music to one of us all semester long. And there's 4 cuts for 3 etudes, and so we see them 12 times, every single kid 12 times throughout the course of the semester. And we make a point to schedule more time during that session than they actually need to play the music and get their critique, so we can check in with them. And so it's like, shut the door, come sit in my office, play your etude. Okay, you need to work on this and this and this and this. And then how you doing? What's going on in life? How's mom? You know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that has really, really helped the culture in our band program. We've done this for years, but the build-in time for the conversation is a newer thing. And it's made the energy in the program just skyrocket. And I think that really has lent to a lot of the successes we have been able to accomplish this semester, and hopefully continuing on.
That's powerful. Chris Herard, can you share the thing that you did last year? Because I don't think this group has heard it. The thing you did last year with the hands.
Yeah, well, it was really simple. We took the students down to the art room, and we got them to dip their hands into paint and put it on to it was a massive school logo, right? Our school logo, and we created our school logo out of the hands of all of the students that are in our classes, and we posted that. It was quite a mural. It was quite a big thing. Posted it up right in our cafeteria where all the students of the school could see it, and every one of those hands, they got to kind of show it and find each other's hands. And we used it a couple times throughout the year to try and reinforce the fact that without one of those hands, that it's different, and just how all the different colors and everything came together to make something really beautiful. And there's so many different ways you can utilize that as an analogy, but it became a neat tradition at our school. So that was one of the things that we did, and it was powerful without it being musical.
No, that is fantastic. Well, and I'll tell you this too, you certainly can make the analogy that even musically, that one person can't create what the whole group can create too. So every person is important. And the sum of all the parts create something magical, both culturally and musically. Yeah, that's awesome. And for those of you who don't know, Chris is from Calgary, Canada, and he's making a difference each and every day with his new role, an administrative role. And at some point, Chris, everybody needs to check out the Heebie-Jeebies too. So he's in a really, really cool group, and they're doing holiday. It's a singing group. They're doing holiday concerts right now, and they're awesome. So,
we're not a singing group. We're an entertainment group. I would never say I'm a singer in front of Melody here.
No, they're really good. They're really good. Other folks, things that you do in the classroom that create culture, or things that you used to do, or things that you've seen people do that really create culture pedagogically and culturally. Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, I'll toss mine out there. We have a annual collage concert as our Christmas concert, and it's collaborative between the band, choir, and orchestra. And we have our large groups. We have some small groups that the directors have put together, like our jazz band. I have a cello choir this year because I've got 8 very strong cellists, a string quartet, woodwind ensemble, that kind of thing. And then we audition for solos and small groups. And the last year and then this year we're doing it again after auditions, which are taking place tomorrow. Our choir and orchestra kids, we share a room for orchestra and choir. They're getting together and decorating the room collaboratively. And all I did was say, hey, this is the date and the time, and if you guys want to do it, you can be here. They've got parent volunteers coming in, so the directors don't have to stay. We have a Christmas tree that was part purchased and part donated last year. We encourage all the kids to bring their own ornament in, so every kid is represented on the tree. And then the band has theirs, and we're also, again, collaborating to do the door decorating contest with all the actual homerooms, since our kids spend so much time down in our homerooms during resource time. And we're just as much celebrating as we can do. The next 2 weeks are absolutely insane. For our collage concerts, we do 5 performances plus an evening dress rehearsal in the span of 3 days. So like the kids know it's, and my group right now is half freshmen, so they have no idea other than it's going to be a lot of time in the music suite over the next couple of weeks. But they're all really looking forward to it, and the decorating just kind of gets everyone in the mood, and again allows us to collaborate with not just with orchestra and choir, but really make one big department-wide celebration before these performances, and we're all looking forward to it.
That's awesome. And you also have chamber ensembles and all this. That's awesome. Very, very collaborative. Allie, jump in.
Thanks, Scott, and thank you, Melody, for everything. And when you said Fun Friday, I perked up because we actually do Fun Friday in our band program in Belmont, Mass. The kids have called it Fun Friday, but on that day for my youngest group, which is 98% freshmen, we kind of ditch whatever repertoire we're working on for concerts. And we break the routine, and the kids come into the classroom and they have a brand new piece of music on their stands. It's usually a pep band chart that has something to do with the time of year. And they, in that one rehearsal, learn the tune, they go into sectionals, work it out together. And then we head to the lobby and we perform it for the school as the bell rings and everybody's heading out to buses and getting out for the weekend. So it's something that's a total team builder. They don't know what the music is week to week. They offer suggestions. I take them, of course. And it's really getting them great at reading and collaborating and leading each other. So we do our version of Fun Fridays.
That's awesome. Awesome. Amanda, jump in.
Well, this is our second year where we did the drum Christmas tree, which, you know, you've seen other people do. And this year we actually had a plan. Last year was kind of a random, let's do this. And this year we had a plan. And so before Thanksgiving, I had my freshman boys going, can we set up the tree? Can we set up the tree? Can we set up the tree? I'm like, no, after Thanksgiving. And so Friday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay over here over lunch. Anybody who wants to come in over their lunch can come in and we'll deck the drums. And one of the girls was talking and going, well, maybe just have everybody who wants to write their name on an ornament, write their name. And I'm like, but you know, the whole purpose is to kind of for everybody to have a name on their tree and, you know, to feel part of the group. And she goes, oh yeah, I suppose that's really important. And then we were talking and she was writing all the names on the different ornaments we had cut out. And by the end of the time, all those kids that were helping me, there's about 5 of them that were helping me at the end, were like, can we stay and see how the 6th graders react when they come in and see it? Can we stay? And I'm like, no, you need to go to class. No. And they were just begging me. So one of the girls was like, I'm gonna leave my phone and video, you know, the kids coming in. I'm like, okay, whatever. But it was a fun moment of them being Santa Claus.
That's right.
You know, and so it's fun to see that tradition carried on and they're taking it and running with it.
Yeah, such positive culture building. That's cool. Yeah, I love the analogy of being Santa Claus. Brian, jump in.
I'll say two real quick things. One of them I cannot take credit for. It started as a reward for fundraising, like an incentive, and it was a bring your puppy to rehearsal day. And so after rehearsal, a lot of the parents brought their puppies. And then, you can do a bring your cat as well. I don't think I would bring them both on the same day. Just note to self. And then another thing, and this is something that I'm very proud of, that we started from day one, and actually everywhere I have taught, all three places, I've had a great relationship with my colleagues, choir directors, theater directors, dance teachers, and that kind of thing. And so I've always tried to go at least once every year to a choir concert, a theater production, a dance production, so that those kids that we do share and my colleagues know how much I appreciate them and support them. And that has absolutely trickled down to our kids. I didn't have to say anything. Our kids start going to their friends' productions, and it's really created a lot of support.
Absolutely. Brenda, jump in.
Ours is a little different. I started with my offices with Triad Music Honor Society. We started at the beginning of the school year doing morning tunes. Well, this past Friday, we had our winter dance, and all we wanted to have get out there at 7:15 in the morning and start playing some Christmas carols. Before I knew it, a bunch of teachers came out and started joining in with us. They're like, this is great. And then, of course, parents are honking their horn, waving at us, giving the thumbs up. But it's a great way to end the week with something peppy, but not just only for your music students, but it's for the entire student body. But the faculty, they were grabbing the microphone and singing to everybody. So I think they had more fun than the students. But anyway, we did that 30 minutes before school started, and it got everybody pumped to enjoy the rest of the day.
Awesome. Alex, jump in.
Sorry, it took me a minute. I just wanted to say what we do is, so we end school this year on the 16th, on Friday the 16th. So on Wednesday that week, we have an assembly for the entire 6th grade at our school, and we do all the music groups in 7th and 8th grade, perform for them. And then on Thursday, we do the same thing for the 7th grade. And then on Friday, the high school comes over and performs for the 8th grade. And the fun thing about that is the high school kids used to be our kids. So they all go into our rooms and they get to meet our younger kids. And the younger kids see how they get ready, how they warm up, what they do. And we bring the younger kids and our music classes to the high school concert along with the 8th graders. So it's a really good thing to do. It's a lot of fun. The kids enjoy it. One of the best things I ever saw was high school kids in the hallway dancing along. They were not supposed to be, but they were dancing along to the band playing on the stage. They were just having a good time. And so it was a lot of fun. We had a good time with that. So we're happy to do it again this year. We hadn't been able to do it because of COVID, and now we're able to do it again. This is the first year in 3 years.
Oh, that's awesome. And it really allows them to connect. That's pretty awesome. Melody.
Yeah, I just thought of one thing that I started doing back when the program was tiny, but it's so meaningful that I still do it. Every student in my program gets a personalized Christmas card from me every year. And it says more than just, Merry Christmas, love Miss V. It's, hey, dear so-and-so, my favorite thing about you is whatever it is. And very often it has nothing to do with music. It's something I've noticed about them as a person. I'm so excited to watch you grow in whatever it might be. Maybe it's high school, maybe they're an 8th grader. And our choir is better because you're here. Each individual one doesn't take very long. On the whole, they take several hours. But kids will come back as seniors that still have their card, that they're really, really, really meaningful and really worth the time to do. And they change my heart, because when you have to write one to every single kid, even those kids that are our special friends, it helps me. It helps me see specific, and it trains me to look carefully at my kids and really, really get to know them. And they love it. They love those cards.
Oh, that's so powerful. Yep, that's very cool. Cecilia.
I just wanted to say that the thing that I keep hearing from all of you is just the amount of respect that you have for the people that are involved in your programs and how much respect you have for the process. And that's just something I think is just resoundingly true of SLAM, that it's process and people over product. And I will take this opportunity to say you're gonna hear a group of us talk a lot about that if you're at the Midwest Clinic. So please join us on Wednesday morning, and we're gonna share with you a lot about creating that culture of excellence, and operating with the lens of servant leadership. And it is not going to be your run-of-the-mill session. That's your teaser.
And Cecilia, it's Wednesday morning at 8:15, right?
8:30, Len,
8:30?
Brian, is that right? 8:30.
8:30. Awesome. Yeah, we'd like to see everyone there if you're going to be at the Midwest Clinic. Well, Tim, I think we're at the end of our time. I'm going to kick it to you.
I don't want it to end.
I know. I feel the same way.
This has been remarkable. And Melody, thank you so much. It's fitting that you have that name, by the way. Yeah. And just mark off Sunday nights, and you need to be with us. So like that. Okay, that's great. Okay, a couple of things. One, several years ago, I was doing a thing, and we were talking about self-talk, yeah. And they said every time they put a rubber band on your wrist, and they said every time you have a negative thought about yourself, pull that rubber band and flip it. I thought that was the stupidest idea in the world, but I played the game, and after about a day, I'm like, well, that's going to hurt. I better quit thinking that. And what we're trying, and I know everybody goes, but sometimes it just keeps coming back. We're trying to offset habits of 15, 20, 25, 30 years of thinking. And it's not going to flip like that. This is a constant. We have to keep watering the plant. So the mere fact that we know that we have the ability to do that. I loved it when Melody said something about we brought joy to that day. Well, we don't want music and joy to ever get mixed together. So let's bring that apart right now. Of course it has to be joyful. That's what life is about. And so, yeah, I just think it's great. The fact that your Fridays went away and came back with so much more treasures for those kids. And of course, they realized it right away. The last thing, just think about this, because it's obviously she went into a situation that was not really good and made it really good, and had every reason, and I think, Steve, you would probably help on this, for it not to be that good, and certainly not to be the spotlight group at TMEA. So here's the phrase: argue for your limitations and you get to own them. So when we start defending why it won't work, we will make ourselves right about it, instead of what Melody said of like, well, here we go. We'll get this done one way or another. And look what happened. We become our most dominant thoughts. We can control our thoughts. So thanks. I'm going to miss y'all for a couple of weeks. Dang it.
Yeah, absolutely. So our time together, we will begin again next semester. The first day will be February 12th. We'll have new guests. We'll also have some new formatted things. We'll do some breakout rooms next semester, and we'll tell you more about that as we get closer to next semester. And thank you guys so much for being with us. I'm going to end with two quotes that I love by Pablo Picasso. The first one is, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away."
Amen.
And then, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once they grow up." And what you all are doing each and every day is you're making a difference in the life of young people, so that the purpose of your life, you're giving away something that is so precious to them and making a difference in their lives, musically and personally, and teaching them to fall in love with music. We are indeed some of the most fortunate people on the planet that we get to do what we do, lock arms with young people. So thank you guys so much. Happy holidays to everyone. We're here. Feel free. As a matter of fact, Melody, if you want to real quick, put your email address in the chat. And if anybody wants to reach out about some things that you offered earlier. And then, we'll look forward to seeing everyone next semester. And if you're at the Midwest Clinic, please stop by the Slam booth 2001. Love to hook up with you guys. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We love you.
Peace.
Be well. Happy holidays.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thanks,
Dog-
Melody.
Very good doggy.